Hello everyone, great to have you here on the channel of MeteoMark Weather. Welcome. We're going to be looking at our winter storm outlook. Yep, there's a lot of talk about blizzard and snowstorms being thrown around here. We'll take a look and see if we have a potential East Coast storm and maybe even some snow across the deep south. And of course, those lake effect totals will really be piling up as we continue in time. We'll also take a look at the tropics as the tropical moisture just doesn't want to go away. We'll be looking at a massive cold air Arctic blast here as we head through the first part into the middle of January. We'll see how that feeds into the potential for some winter storm action. Let's get into it. All right, so the teleconnections that are coming together for a big snowstorm cold blast event through much of January here, especially through mid to late January. NAO Index going severely negative here towards -2 towards the middle of the month. And if we take a look at the MJO Index, this is where we start to get, here into phase 7, 8, and part of 1 here through the middle of January. And these are the active phases that you look for East Coast and basically massive cold across the eastern part of North America. All right, so we're starting off with our feature radar here, our winter radar precipitation depiction. So as we head on into New Year's Eve here, we're going to be looking at some convective lines of showers, gusty showers moving through. Look at the rain snow line here right around 11 p.m. through Cleveland, Akron area. So we're going to be pivoting that rain to snow line through Ohio, and then we start to get heavier bursts of snow here, maybe up to an inch in some of these areas, moving through quickly until we start to get the lake enhancement. Then we start to pile up a little bit more, especially on the northeast side of Cleveland up through Buffalo, Syracuse. Look at this on the backside of the storm. We do actually bring the rain snow line south and eastward through parts of New England here, maybe as far as the coast. Now look what starts to kick in here through 7 p.m. New Year's Day. Look at these streamers setting up across Ohio, parts of western New York, western Pennsylvania. So on the backside of the storm, we not only have that lake-enhanced snow, but we have that lake effect snow kicking in. And that snow just continues. Look at the mountainous terrain of the Berkshires, White Mountains, Green Mountains up here through parts of New England. We're going to continue to watch as this storm winds up. We may actually get a 3-lake connection here from Georgian Bay right down to Syracuse here and the Mohawk Valley and the Tug Hill Plateau. So that's something we'll keep an eye on. As we pivot towards the Midwest, we see our next system really start to take shape. It's going to be a weak one, though. It's going to bring a couple inches here to Chicago and then eventually parts of Ohio as well. All right, so picking up where our HRRR feature radar left off, you can see what's going on here as that storm system lifts out of the picture as we head on into the new year. Let's just back that up just a tad. So there it is. Wraparound snow and lake effect behind it as we head through New Year's Day here and into northern New England, Quebec. I'll show you in your Canadian weather forecast in just several minutes from now, a little bit later on in this video. But look at this. As we head towards the 3rd into the 4th, you can see this system towards the weekend, Friday into Saturday. It slides safely off the coast here, so it doesn't really go much coastal on us here along coastal areas. It's going to be close, though. Look at that. And then lake effect just continuing here across Ohio, New York, and Pennsylvania on those northwest winds. So those normally favored snow belts we'll continue to watch. Now, our attention turns to this system out here around Colorado and Kansas. Look at this wintry precipitation starting. This latest run of the GFS going much more southerly, so this could be a southern snow and ice event here as we head towards Missouri, Arkansas, heading on towards Tennessee, northern Georgia, and even North Carolina and parts of northern South Carolina for the 5th into the 6th. Look at that sliding off the coast here, missing the northeast on this latest GFS run. So wintry across the south, that's kind of crazy. And I want to draw your attention here towards the 9th. Look at snow into Houston. Wow, that is crazy along the Gulf Coast here. Could we actually have an accumulating snow down and through parts of southern Texas and Louisiana, San Antonio, Houston, Beaumont, Port Arthur, here over to New Orleans? This is crazy. This shows the extent of this cold air as it really propagates to the south here. And then we have another coastal system towards the 10th. Look at this. This kind of does not phase with the northern branch, but it really does keep the lake effect snow active through mid-January here. Look at these coastals missing the East Coast. I do caution you on this because the previous model runs had this blasting up through parts of the East Coast as potential blizzard. So, we need to keep an eye on this pattern. It's very favorable, but look at this. We really start to line up these wintry systems on the northern fringes across the south. We see a lot of cold air bottled up here across eastern North America. All right, so let's take a look at the European model here. Really nice to compare the two. Here's that system as we head on into New Year's Day. Cold air blasting behind it, getting that lake effect, lake enhanced. Look at it heading up into the Canadian Maritimes here. That's where you're going to see a lot of wind and snow on the backside of that. Now, here's our southern system. This European model going further north here on January 5th through the Mississippi River Valley and pushing off the coastline here. So you have a double barrel low, one over West Virginia, one off the Carolina coast. So we'll continue to watch it here. It may try to go negatively tilted and may try to bring a snowstorm up into the mid-Atlantic, maybe parts of the Northeast through early next week. We'll keep an eye on it here. It exits off the coast, and as you can see, in its wake, we have high pressure building in. All right, so our upper air weather pattern here, this is what I really wanted to show you. The blocking really starts to take hold across Greenland up here. Negative NAO index blasting. And then look at this. As we head through the later part of this week, that's where that East Coast trough really starts to kick in. It moves out with another one replacing it. That's that Monday, Tuesday system next week. So we'll see how this captures the energy to the north on the northern branch and see how if that phases. And then look at that. As we head towards the middle of the month, look how active things are across the East Coast here. Blasting Arctic blasts and plenty of snowstorm action as we continue through mid-January. And as we start here with our latest GFS run, you can see very similar picture as we go through the weekend, next weekend into early next week. GFS has backed off a little bit on these troughs, but you can see towards the 9th and 10th, this one really gets cranking. Look at the blocking up here, not only in Greenland, but over here towards Alaska and the west coast to the U.S. When you get this sort of ridging, this is where you get those chances for East Coast snowstorms really beginning to solidify through the middle of the month here. And then we got a big one coming down the pike here for right around the 16th. So watch out. Very active wintry pattern for eastern North America as we head through mid to late January. All right, so our GFS model for snowfall amounts here. Obviously, the lake effect's going to be cranking through the rest of this week, starting New Year's Day and on into this weekend. There's that southern system here. Crazy to think that you're going to see more snow out of this potentially than these northern states. Look at that, down in through Missouri, all the way through North Carolina. We'll keep an eye on it because, this has been bouncing back and forth. Potential East Coast low, we'll keep an eye on it, but latest GFS taking it more progressive off the coastline here. And if we take a look at the European model here, there's that lake effect snow. We'll zoom in momentarily, but watch this. There's that southern system a little bit further north on the European model and capturing these energy coming together a little bit. More of a mid-Atlantic Ohio Valley type storm here. Yeah, it could be 6 to 12 plus inches, so we'll keep an eye on it. This time frame is next week. Look at that. Later Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So we'll keep an eye on it. And the European kind of hinting at one towards January 12th as well. So we're looking at a much more active pattern here for snowfall. As we get into the Northeast, we'll just zoom in here. There's the lake effect snow, right around Cleveland. We're talking about, it's going to be dependent on where you are. Northeast Cleveland, that's where you get into the warning 7, 8, 9 foot or more inches. And then look at here. South side of Cleveland, westward, it's more an advisory criteria, 2 to 5 inches. And then we head towards Erie, especially just inland here. That's where you're going to see quite a bit of snowfall here, 6 to 12 with locally higher 2 feet amounts in those most persistent bands here. And we just go out through this weekend. Here's that system next week. Look at these snowfall amounts. Southern Ohio, we're talking about like 10 to 16 inches. West Virginia, we're getting up into the lower 20-inch range. And then look at DC here, right around a foot, all the way through Delmarva. This has been bouncing around. Look at Harrisburg, right around 4 to 6 inches. Very little up here towards the big cities of the Northeast and New England here. So we'll keep an eye on it here. Things could change. And then another system right around the 12th and 13th, piling a little bit more snow and more snow here towards Cape Cod area or southeast Massachusetts here. And the lake effect just continuing around Syracuse. And lots of snow up here around southern Quebec and northern New England as well. And if we continue on the GFS here, Let's make sure we have the latest model run. Look at this as we continue through time. Here's those snowfall amounts. GFS kind of going crazy with Cleveland here, right around 7 inches. So it's on the higher end of the envelope here. And then inland across northwest Pennsylvania here, Erie County, Crawford County up towards Chautauqua and Cattaraugus counties here. This is where you're seeing a foot or more. Look at Syracuse, right around 25 inches. So yeah, these lake effect snows bubbling up even down and through West Virginia here. That heads on early this week. Look at the GFS, though. It's much further south with that system Monday into Tuesday next week. And then through the 16th, the GFS kind of has everything missing the Northeast on this latest run. But look at these lake effect belts through then from Cleveland. Oh, look at Syracuse up there, 37 inches. So we'll keep an eye on it here. So if we take a look at the NAM 3-kilometer mesoscale snowfall amounts here, this just takes us through late Thursday night here. So you get the idea. Cleveland, right around 2 to 4 inches. Northeast Cleveland, that's where you're getting 7 inches or more. Look at all the way up through Erie, south side of Buffalo, suburbs there. That's where you're getting the 6 to as much as 12-inch plus amounts, locally higher to 2 feet in some areas. Tug Hill Plateau, Oswego County, and parts of Syracuse as well, picking up some warning criteria close to 6 to 12 inches with locally higher amounts. All right, we take a look at liquid equivalent precipitation amounts here. You can see Ohio Valley, Eastern Great Lakes in the Northeast with our storm system through New Year's here, picking up about a half to 3/4 of an inch. Locally higher in the purple zones, over an inch. But look at our storm system next week, Monday and Tuesday across the Deep South. This is where we'll be getting rainfall amounts of close to 2 to 3 inches in some areas. Now, as we go longer term with the GFS has backed off a bit here with, some snowstorm action. Some of these going way off the coastline here. And if we take a look at the European model here, rainfall amounts and snow on the backside here, pivoting through the Ohio Valley, Midwest, and the Northeast. Euro showing, some heavy precipitation here, the Mid-Atlantic, as we get into next week. So we'll be watching for that prospect. A little bit sliding more off the coastline here with this East Coast low, so we'll keep an eye on it here, but lots of precipitation here across the east. And don't forget, before we continue, if you like the video, smash that like button. It really does help everyone. Question or comment down below. I'd love to read your questions or comments. Subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget, I have my winter weather outlook for the entire winter season, 2024-2025. Link in the description down below and at the end of this video. Let's continue. And here we go. Derek Rentschler from Lebanon County, Pennsylvania. He had some Christmas Eve snow. Look at this. This was a white Christmas for many in parts of the Northeast and parts of the Mid-Atlantic as well. So this is a welcome sight. This was very much a welcome sight. Nice captures there, Derek. Some nice, beautiful Christmas snow. All right, as we start off here with the GFS with your tropical update here, thankfully, there's not going to be really any threat of named storms this time of year. But as we head through January 2nd and the 3rd, I do want to bring your attention. There is a lot of moisture for this time of year. Usually this is all dry. And this low that's hanging out in northwestern South America, and we have a little bit of a wave action here towards Trinidad, Tobago. North coast of Honduras continuing to get that heavy rain potential, as is northeast Jamaica here. So we'll continue to watch it as we head through the 3rd, the 4th, into the 5th. Look at these northeast winds. That's bringing in the moisture. This is highly unusual for this time of year. Look at this. On these northeast winds, those north-facing coasts, especially those mountain ranges as well, hills and whatnot, will be squeezing out that moisture content. So we're continuing here with the dry season being more of a wet season here as we head through January 7th into the 8th and into the 9th. Yeah, you get the idea. It's just continuing with a lot of rainfall here across Central America. Northern Honduras in particular, Belize down into Nicaragua, Costa Rica here, and the north-facing coast of Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and Haiti, and even some showers down towards Trinidad, Tobago here. We'll continue to watch it here. Look at this feature up in the Gulf of Mexico. This is actually a southern stream system that's really going to be blasting across the Gulf of Mexico. It's not tropical in nature, but it kind of looks that way. But as we continue in time through the 12th to 13th, I want to draw your attention. Is this going to change things? The frontal boundary actually makes it through a lot of the Caribbean here as we head through the middle of the month. So that's something we'll have to keep an eye on here as we go out here in time. Look at this frontal boundary, kind of just stalling at this point, come right around January 15th and 16th. And here across the tropics, here is the Western Caribbean as we head through the rest of this week. You can see New Year's Day. Look at this rainfall here across Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica here. Yeah, all the way through January 3rd and 4th, those northeast trade winds keeping a lot of moisture. Trinidad, Tobago, Grenada here, all the way through the north central Caribbean, but most importantly, Central America here. That's where the moisture is just going to continue to blast. Thankfully, this time of year, we don't really have much of a threat for tropical systems spinning up, but I do caution you because this blocking high to the north is really going to push the moisture from South America up through Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and eventually Honduras again as we go into that first full week of the new year. Look at that. We do lose our precipitation feed here at hour 144, but you get the idea. We're going to continue to watch lots of tropical moisture through this region. And rainfall amounts here across the Caribbean here on our GFS model. Yeah, this is just continuing. Look at the north coast of Honduras and Belize, down through the coastal areas of Costa Rica and Nicaragua. More rain. Look at that, on the order of 200 to 300 millimeters. You know, that's getting you up towards danger zones, 5 to 8 inches. Even the northeast part of Jamaica here, look at this, up towards some areas close to 100 millimeters there, right around Portland Parish. And the north-facing coast of Dominican Republic, Haiti, and Puerto Rico. Look at that. You're heading up towards close to 70 to 100 millimeters. Get you up towards about 3 to 4 inches. If you will look at the European model, our latest run, yeah, still showing a lot of rainfall here as well throughout this week into next weekend. We're heading up towards that 100 to 150 millimeter part here through parts of Central America, Belize, Honduras, northeastern Jamaica there, and the north-facing coast here of the north central Caribbean islands. And then as we head into the eastern Caribbean here, look at the, yeah, so it's drier. Trinidad, Tobago, you're going to be up towards 51, upwards of 70 millimeters in some of these areas, you know, about an inch or so. But much drier as we head through the northeast Caribbean. Now, if we take a look at the latest GFS here, let's just kick this into motion. We go longer term. Yeah, there's going to be some showers moving through on these northeast trade winds, you know, upwards of close to 50 to 70 millimeters locally, higher towards 100 millimeters. Puerto Rico as well will get up towards, you know, 1.5 to 2 inches of rain. All right, so your Canadian weather outlook here. Let's take a look. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of snow developing here as we head through the second into the third. Look at southeast Canada here with this low pressure. Quebec, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, up towards Newfoundland. Canadian Maritimes here. Look at that low just blasting up. It's bringing a lot of cold air as well as this high pressure in the central provinces here as we head through January 5th, the 6th, into the 7th. You see things remain very active here across the west coast of British Columbia and then southeast Canada here as well. Now, how are the coastal storm chances looking across eastern Canada? Well, as we head through the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, yeah, look at this one in particular. We'll keep an eye on this one for especially Newfoundland here. This looks like a massive 960 millibar low. This could be a blizzard for Newfoundland here. 60 centimeters or higher showing up on the models. I'll show you that momentarily. Now, as we head towards the middle of the month, kind of hinting that the pattern becomes very conducive for East Coast snowstorms here. We'll keep an eye on it. So far, this latest run of the GFS, keeping a lot of them to the southeast. And look at this by the 15th and 16th. Things really start to look quiet for much of Canada. And snowfall amounts here on our European model. Wow, look at southeast Canada there. Obviously the west coast as well, but look at this. We're going to get the central provinces in on it too. Close to 15 to 25 centimeters, some beneficial snow. Obviously the mountains of British Columbia out here, the coastline areas as well. And then look at this, back east here across southeast Canada. Now look at this across Quebec, especially eastern Ontario through New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, even Newfoundland there. Look at these snowfall amounts. Purple zones upwards of 25 to 40 centimeters. Look at Newfoundland, though, up towards 60 to 70 centimeters. That's a crazy amount as these coastal lows get bombing. If you take a look at the GFS here, it's make sure we have the latest run. It's a similar picture here. Look at this. Both models pretty much agreeing with each other. In fact, the GFS actually going pretty crazy with snowfall amounts here across parts of Quebec here. And if we take a look at precipitation amounts here across Canada on our European models, we go through time, you can see southeast Canada, that's where we're picking up 60 to close to 120 millimeters of rainfall here. Get you up towards 2.5, close to the 4-inch range, and the west coast of Canada as well. All right, heading over to the Western Pacific here, you can see what's going on. Yeah, there's tropical wave action out here off the coast of Vietnam as we head through the rest of this week into this weekend. Philippines continuing to get pummeled by this stalled out frontal boundary. Let's just head back here. There it is, right around the 10th into the 11th into the 12th. You get the idea, though. As long as you have a frontal boundary in this region, there's going to be enough wind shear to keep any of these stronger tropical waves from developing. Look at this over here. We do have, towards Sri Lanka, we do have a system that may try to form into a tropical system as we head out here in time. But watch this. Look at this. Heading on to the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th, and the 16th. That frontal boundary remains pretty well entrenched here across the Philippines. And if we take a look here in the Western Pacific, rainfall amounts are looking crazy across the Philippines. Look at this. This is where you're going to see easily across much of the Philippines, 150, 250 millimeters of rain, upwards of 350 to 400 millimeters potentially. And before we continue with more weather, check out these awesome, amazing maps that you won't find anywhere else.
I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code.
All right, so as we're continuing through the rest of the week here, New Year's Day, look at how warm it is along the U.S. East Coast. Yeah, we're holding on to those 50s and 60s. Look at that cold air blasting across the northern plains, though. Single digits, teens, and 20s down and through Chicago here into Thursday. Look what's going on. This cold blast is heading east here. So we set up some 20s and 30s even through the eastern Great Lakes here into parts of the Northeast. Temperate along the Gulf Coast here, but look at winter is on here as we get this cold air billowing and blasting across the Midwest, single digits and teens, all the way through 20s and 30s in the interior Northeast. Into Saturday, look at this. Down and through the southern Appalachians, we could be seeing highs not even reach the freezing point here. So we're really building this cold air. The pattern is definitely changing as we head on into Sunday. January 5th here. Look at that cold air just reinforcing across parts of the Midwest and the Northeast. We're just going to continue these cold air Arctic blasts, and we have no data for January 6th here. So there it is. I'll leave it with January 5th. Extended forecast from our hometown viewers, bringing it to grains up to Susquehanna River Valley of New York and Pennsylvania. As we continue through New Year's, we got rain. That will start to mix with snow later in the day with a light accumulation overnight Wednesday night into early Thursday morning. The wind will start to pick up as well, maybe an inch or less here. But as we head on into Friday, into the weekend, look at this. This is where we get those lake effect snow showers kicking in and much colder temperatures, highs in the 20s and lows in the teens.